Welcome to Read the Room. This is episode 14. And the title is this episode is Conversation with Tray Chaney and my man Tazi. I go by E1. I'm your host. And we're going to get right into it. Now, y'all know Tray, my brother.
Yeah.
And he back in town, man. What brings you in town?
Man, brother, what brings me in town, man, this is something special for me because, like you said, man, my man Tazi, with this whole community support system, specializing in helping individuals with disabilities in the DC area, it spoke to me. And for us to partner the way we did, even though I've been knowing Tazi for a while through my man, our family, Food with the Camera, Jordan Marcel. So when Tazi was having a conversation with me about, what he represents when it comes to community support system, I was like, wait a minute, that's hitting home for me. You know what I'm saying? Because of everything that I went through, a lot of people, of course, they know, what happened to me with the tornado. And even though people see my son, Malachi, doing great, laughing, smiling, at the end of the day, because of that traumatic brain injury, he still has a disability. Okay. So when he pointed out, what the company, what the organization represents as far as helping people with disabilities, and they got all these different skills and programs that they can do to just uplift. I was like, this spoke to me more than probably anything I've ever attached myself to.
Okay. All right. Well, Tazi, let's get to you, my brother.
Yeah.
Right, now, when Tray was telling me about the company and everything, it's something that I hadn't really heard about, and I'm just like, wow, for you to have a company where the way that you help, just explain the company itself and how you came across it, how did it start and all that.
Okay, well, I can't take all the credit for it. I really have to thank my parents. My mother founded this company in 2006. I believe I was 14 at the time, maybe. Yeah. I was a young buck. And myself, my father, just as a family, we just put our heads together. I remember typing up the original documents for our first individuals that were serving in the district. I didn't know what I was typing. My mother was just telling me, hey, this document came through, type this up. And I was really good at typing in the computer, so I'll just type it up. And as a family, I noticed growing up that we tended to have, as siblings, I have an older brother and a younger sister. We tend to have more empathy than the average person. And my theory was it was because my brother was born with a disability. So growing up, it was just commonplace for me to take my brother's wheelchair out of the car. Sometimes he would have, certain sensitive situations that only somebody who was born into a situation where you have a family member with a disability will really understand. And that kind of made me grow up as a collective too, in the family, with more empathy, just more of that caring spirit than the average person. So fast forward as I got older, again, it was founded in 2006. My parents really don't believe in working in the office until you could work in the field first.
Okay.
Serve the community first before you go into the office and put a suit on, for better words. But I was in the community for a good 3 years.
Okay.
And I would say it was an amazing experience. I really enjoyed my work, and I really understood what it meant to kind of understand people who are born with certain, for lack of a better word, deficiencies.
Okay.
As compared to the average person, and now in the office, in an administrative role, even at a more macro scale, I sometimes just take a step back and like, hey, you got to remember, at the end of the day, you're serving people in your community.
True.
Yeah.
So you have to remember at the end of the day, the bottom line is these people that you're serving, so to answer your question, that's how I would frame it.
Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you, so growing up, was it like, do you feel like you were the type of person that like automatically in your mind when you saw somebody in need, like did you see yourself in this role? Does it fit? Would you say it fits your personality?
I would say it fits my personality. If I saw somebody hurt and need, that thing in me would activate and be like, what? Maybe there's something I could do.
Okay.
You know, whether somebody's there or it's looking at me or not looking at me, maybe there's something I could do. My fondest memory was, I remember my father was driving He had a 1996 Honda stick shift, and I was in the passenger seat, and it was a lady in front of us, and I guess she fell asleep at the wheel. She had a long shift, and her car flipped into the bush. And I was like 6 at the time or something. And he told me to, stay in the car, and he dragged this lady out of her car while she was like knocked out. Had done a double shift as a waiter. And that was like my fondest memory of what it meant to kind of go a little bit above and beyond from what you're supposed to do as the average person, because he could have just called the police.
Yeah, true.
But he didn't want to do that. He said he wanted to go the extra mile. So it's those little things that I would say contributed to kind of that, I guess, that character element of just being more empathetic, being more hands-on, being more situationally aware when somebody is in need of support.
For sure. Mm-hmm. Now, what brought you to Tray? Like, how did this mesh? Like,
I never told him this, but I saw that he was married. I liked the way he carried himself as a man, and he just looked professional.
Okay. Okay. My brother.
He just looked professional. He didn't look like flimsy or
true.
He just looked organized. And obviously my good man fool with the camera, Jordan Marcel, spoke very highly about him. I said, you know what? I need to talk to this guy.
Yeah, it seemed official.
And you know what, another thing, with Tazi had already been, we already had been around each other, affiliated through, food. So I want to say this was maybe 2 years or something in the making.
Correct.
Because Tazi didn't just, throw this on me. He was like, how they say, just playing his role. That's our homeboy, and then, like I said, the timing of everything couldn't have been more perfect, because it's like now, everything he stands for, with his family background, and it's starting as a family business first, and then his parents passing it down to him, and him as well being a family man. I'm like, this couldn't have came at a more perfect time, man. And then when you hear him speak about helping people in need, because like I said, what I went through last year, that tragic tornado, I watched my son need help. And it was nothing that I could particularly do because I'm not a doctor. All I could do was just be there as a man, as a father. But like I said, with Tazi and the whole company having people that really specialize in knowing what to do. I'm like, man, like that's something good. And even when this happened with me and my family, you wish you would have had organization or a company around like community support system. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And yeah, man, like I said, it's just our relationship and our partnership and building together to get this word out even more in DMV. It's just going to travel so many other places,
And for your company, so for example, if someone was, had a tragic situation, your services is like you're like not a caretaker, but I saw that you all like you take the person out in the community if they need to get out the house, or you help if they, I guess, memory loss or something like that. You have like tools to actually help them, get their self back together.
Correct. So the goal ultimately is to promote independent living.
Okay.
So in my field, we try to make there to be no distinguishment between somebody who, for lack of better words, has no issues and somebody who may have a disability. There shouldn't be any, gray area. They should be able to have the liberty and the ability to do the same thing. And wherever there is any difficulty, that is where companies like my own step in to give you the tools and the processes or systems to be able to live as independently as possible. So for example, if you walk with a cane, the goal is to get you to not walk with a cane.
Right.
I got you.
You get me?
Yeah.
Or to use that cane as effectively or as efficiently as possible, whereby, let's say you kind of walking real stiff with it, is to make you to use the cane and stand up straight.
I got you.
So to the best of your ability.
Well, that's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's good. So if somebody wanted to get in contact with y'all,
Yes, sir.
How would that work?
We have a Instagram page. It is at Come to CSS. Our office, 5000 Sunnyside Avenue, Suite 301, Beltsville, Maryland, 20705. And the phone number to the office is 301-960-4223. And you're going to ask for Miss Claire. Miss Claire is going to guide you the way. That's our HR. Shout out to Miss Claire.
And Tazi, I wanted you to give them the website as well.
For sure. The website is www.cometocss.com.
Well, I love these interviews. I appreciate y'all coming through. You know what I mean? Like something positive like this for anybody that has an issue. I just think it's dope. Especially as we always, it's cliche, but as Black brothers, when you see something like that, it's dope, man. So I appreciate y'all. You my brother. 100%,
you already know.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As I always say, everybody has a part, but everybody isn't us. Till the next time.
Peace.
Peace.